Welcome to Thank God You're Not My Child. Remember, it's a comedy podcast where I talk about whatever I want to. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. I know. But this week, I'm probably going to piss some people off. So let's get ready. We're going to talk about co-sleeping. Yes, that is a very hard, hot topic with parents. And remember, this is just all of my opinion. So when you disagree or you've done it and it worked out great, it's okay. Okay? Just remember, I have my own shit soapboxes. So let's get going. I have no alcohol, and after this one, I might have to go get some kind of alcohol. Because Lord have mercy. I had no clue how far back co-sleeping went. I went to start to researching it, and it made 100% sense why 500 plus years ago, or even longer, there everybody co-slept. One reason they co-slept was they were lucky to have a bed. Because years ago, having a bed was not something that was very common. So if there was one bed, normally everybody slept in it. Mom, dad, all kids. That was, and I totally get that. You know, if you only have one bed in your house and you're all sleeping on that, just be safe. Let's not be ignorant parents. Let's be safe parents. But that makes total sense because I can only imagine. You can buy mattresses now over $10,000, $12,000, which I don't know what that's doing unless it's got like hands that come out and massage you every night. I just don't get it. But, to each his own. Do you? You can send me the money and I'll buy a whole lot of people beds for that much if you just saying. The next reason that they used to co-sleep, and this was right around the 1900s, was one thing that they knew would stop, was if you had one or two babies because you couldn't stop boink boinking, you know what I mean? If those babies are sleeping with you, do you know the odds of having more babies? They drop down. It drop down. And I understand. Doesn't always have to be in the bed. I do get it. You can go somewhere else. I get that. But with two kids in your bed, you probably aren't sleeping real good. And the thought of isn't so appealing when you're tired. So that was a pretty good reason. So less babies. We don't really live the same way they did the first of 1900s is what it said. And when babies sleeping by themselves became the way to go, it was when they realized that they had formula was made to feed babies and that the mom didn't always have to feed the baby. Pumping, formula, baby bottles, when they started coming out, anybody could feed your baby. So they didn't need to be sleeping with you. And is it a good thing about that? A lot of babies didn't get to bond to their parents because feeding, holding them when they nap. This is one of the ways that you get to bond with your baby. So definitely, if you're not getting to feed them that much, it's going to put a little kink in that. I do think co-sleeping with your baby and you're like always touching them, you can't help but have a bond with that. Guys, let's just be honest. There's going to be a bond. When I was young, the one thing that I was I probably was in middle school because I was still in Krebs, Oklahoma. My sister's, one of her friends had a baby in high school, and I think her name was Erica. Seriously, it was so long ago. I remember seeing the baby once. It was a baby. I never really held a baby or babysitted when I was in middle school. I was tomboy galore that didn't like to be around babies. But, things have changed. I grew up. So, well, I remember my sister coming home, and she was one of her friends. They wasn't real close. But my sister's 3 years 3 years older than I am. And that baby died. And they didn't know if that baby passed away because smothering or SIDS. And that was the first time that I seen sadness on a mom's face from burying her baby. And now let's just clarify. I didn't think I ever wanted to have kids, but you'd have to be a cold-hearted bitch not to be sad when somebody's lost their baby. And I was a teenager in middle school, and I remember crying for this girl that I didn't even really know, because I don't know about you, but I know people that's went through this, and it's the hardest thing you had ever done. I'm sorry, but I don't. And so when I had my kids, if my kids staying alive meant they had to be in their own bed, and that's how I looked at it, because that's what I went through in middle school. I seen that hurt so vivid, and that was my worst nightmare. When my son was born, he did not sleep with me. Now, just let me tell you, the best feeling in the world is holding your newborn baby during a nap. So don't come at me. I know how good it is. I would sit on a sofa or lay back with my baby in my arms, and never completely asleep, but there's nothing like a sleeping baby on your chest. So don't come at me. I know what it feels like. But when we went to bed and I was really going to try to get good sleep, he was never sleeping with me. Now, I will tell you this. His full-size crib was right next to my bed, and I could lay with my hand on his back. So I ain't talking like I ain't ever did no shit. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, our kids are the most important things in our lives. Okay, people? We all know that. So this is where I'm coming from with co-sleeping. Because co-sleeping, it can be dangerous, and we know that. And because there's nothing worse than something happening. Broken arm. I mean, it doesn't have to be death. So why do you co-sleep? That's all I'm going to ask you to think about. I've actually I don't think I've ever told anybody that they needed to stop. But, no, that's a lie. I do have a friend. I'm not going to say her name, but she knows who she is. And she had twins come along, and they were sleeping with her in her, God, how old was the older one? I had her in daycare. She was probably 7, maybe 8, and still sleeping with mom and dad and the twins. And at what time? What time? And there's also a good point. She got pregnant with twins, but yet this 9 or 10-year-old or whatever slept with her every night. See, proof you can sneak away. Anyway, I just couldn't imagine sleeping with a kid kicking me, because kids sleep worse than adults. And I just couldn't imagine it. So you need to think about why you're co-sleeping. The main reason I don't co-sleep is I'm not chancing on rolling on my child. Wouldn't chance smothering him or the baby. I wouldn't chance broken legs or arms or anything like that. It just wasn't a big enough chance. But, I get it. I get it. I would tell you to think, is it for you or is it for the baby? Because I'm going to just let you know, pushing something out like you do to have a baby, if you're like me, you don't want to let that baby go ever. Ever. And I get it. But it's sleeping in its own bed and learning to do that is one of the best things you can do for yourself as a mom. Because there's nothing like telling your child it's bedtime at 6, and they brush their teeth and all, and they hug you and all, and they go, I'll see you in the morning, and going into the room. And I see that on my granddaughter. My daughter has nabbed this. Now, don't tell me. Now, yeah, they've slept with her before. There's been reasons, and that's her kids. I've never seen her sleep with them unsafe or anything, and they don't do it all the time, but I'm a firm believer if your child comes in there because they've had a nightmare or something, they've probably done everything they possibly could to try to be comfortable and go back to sleep. And if they can't and they come to you, it's your job to take care of it. So if you decide they crawl in bed with you, I get it. Been there, done that. So yeah, but I think the major things telling someone to really think about co-sleeping, not myself, is self-soothing. I do think it helps with self-soothing. You know your child. You know your child when they're tired. If their child is just tired and they're not hungry, nothing's wrong with them, and they just need to sleep, there is nothing wrong with them sitting there for a few minutes crying and figuring out how they can go to sleep. This is going to make your life down the line easier. Being comfortable alone. I like a child that can curl up in a chair or a bed and just say, I'm tired, I want to go to sleep, and they're comfortable with themselves that they can sleep alone. You know, if your child can do that, sorry, let's go that one again. If your child can lay down and rest when their body's at rest and they learn that, it's priceless. So if you're having a problem with your child that's 5, 6, 7, whatever, sleeping in your room, let's let them have a little bit of independence there, people. Let's let them have a little bit of independence, have their own bed, have their bedtime. Let's figure out what makes them want to go to bed instead of just being by you. Because I'm also, one of my shit soapboxes is you need to have a strong relationship with that baby daddy that you're sleeping with and raising your kids with, that husband. Because if you don't, it breaks down. It breaks down. I'm your firm believer there. Have a strong connection to them. And it might not involve the kids when they get older, because the kids grow up. And then you're left staring at the one that gave you the kids. And you got to keep that going. So don't lose that letting your kid co-sleep. You know, if you let them sleep with you, how about a couple of nights a week? Let's make some changes. That's all it's about. Is I know they're babies. I know you think that they cannot learn, but they learn what comfort is, and comfort is in your arms all the time, every night. Hello? Who doesn't want that? So let's comfort them when they're awake. Let's comfort them maybe at a short nap time. Hold them, sit in that chair, read a book the whole time they're napping. Do it, because those are the memories you're going to remember. Do it. Read to the kids while they're napping. Your voice is very soothing for them too. They don't have to always be by you. Read to them while they're laying in their beds. Maybe that's your nap time. Get a book. If they're older, like a 6 or 7-year-old, you might be able to get a chapter book, not a huge one, but a chapter book, and read like a chapter every night to them. And as long as they're going to sleep in their bed, you can do that. See, there's things you can do. And if you start that baby, do you curl them up? Do you bind them up? What do? You start when they're a baby, and I'm going to say, you're starting from birth. They're in their bed more than they're with you. I know that's a hard concept, especially if you're breastfeeding, because the easiest thing to do when you're breastfeeding a newborn is them sleeping with you, because you don't have to do everything. Can be right there on a nightstand. You know what I mean? If you had a baby and everything can be right there on your nightstand, you can have your food, you can have your drinks, you can have your cleaning cloths, you can have your milk, you can have your diaper. You can literally stay in your bed for the first 2 weeks until you have to go to the bathroom and take a shower after you have a baby. I'm not talking about that time. Okay? I'm not talking about that time. Because 2 or 3 weeks after you have a baby, that's what that time is for. You guys may be lucky he be in a bed. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's just what I'm asking for. And then if you know someone, if you have a friend that is co-sleeping, and like I am against co-sleeping, I don't think you should do it. But you know what? I have good friends that co-sleep. And am I going to make them feel horrible for it? No. You know why? Because that is their child, not my child. Now, if they ask me what I would do, I'll tell them in a heartbeat. Well, I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you how to help you. But it's not my job to take care of their child. And if that's how they're going to raise them, that's how they're going to raise them. I know some awesome kids that co-slept for way too long in my books, but they're awesome kids. So does it have anything to do with how your kid will come out? It could. I mean, it could. Pretty sure Norman Bates probably slept with his mom probably way, 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 way too late, if you know what I mean. So maybe, if you look, first of all, don't name your kid Norman Bates. Okay. Don't do that. Second of all, That relationship, I don't know what you think about it, but you don't have to watch the movie. I would tell you more to watch the series. The series gives you a whole lot more than the movie. That you do not want to bond to your baby that much. Norman Bates, that you need to stop before Norman Bates. Do you understand? You need to bond with your child right before it. No, not right before. Probably way before you hit the Norman Bates way, if you know what I mean. Okay? That's it. Don't make your child into Norman Bates. And I don't think co-sleeping would do that. Or would it? I don't know. Do you think that's what happened to Norman Bates? Did he co-sleep till he was 20? Oh, okay, that's it. I've already told you everything I know. And so that's going to have to be it, because I got to go research this, how Norman Bates stuff, because I know everybody thinks it's not real, but it's based on a true story. I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. So, remember, think about why you're co-sleeping. Don't turn your son into Norman Bates. Oh, that might have been a little stretch. Maybe. Okay, well, until next time, thank God you're not my child. Well, hello to Thank God You're Not My Child. Yes, this podcast is a comedy podcast. Remember, changing up some things here in a little while. I'm going to be talking about pretty much whatever I want to. After 30 plus years of childcare, most of it's about child. Maybe it's about those teenagers that you just want to knock their heads off, because you know you've seen those. But I don't know where I'm going to go with this, but I want you to be there. So this is season 2 of Thank God You're Not My Child, where we're going to talk about whatever we want to. So if you have any stories to tell me about just ridiculous crap your kids did, or maybe something you've seen in a store that a Karen or a Darren was doing, yes, you can DM these to me. Yes, you can. To Just Be K Donna. I'll put them in this, what do you call it? The tagging on this? I don't know what you call it. Remember, I'm learning. Episode 31, you'd think I'd understand what that is. But anyway, so Just Be K Donna at yahoo.com, or my Instagram is Thank God You're Not My Child. So send me those messages. You want to get online? You want me to tell your story? Let me know. Give me some good stuff. Thank you. To thank God you're not my child.